Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is Hunter here, and I'm here with Colin. Colin, how you doing, good sir?
I'm doing very well. How are you, sir?
I am good, man. We were we were talking about something off mic that we won't we won't talk about here, but just know it's hilarious. But guys, we're here to review a kind of random new movie, but I was actually excited when I saw the trailer called Free Fire. It stars some pretty fucking awesome people. Cillian Murphy, Scarecrow himself, as Chris. We've got Sharto Copley at his Sharto Copley-ist in this movie.
Nice.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
for real.
Yeah, like you would trust me. You'll know when Sharto Copley shows up. Not just it's insane. And then of course Captain Marvel herself. Someone in my top five, which I know she cares about. Brie Larson as Justine. I'm just gonna throw it out there. This I was sitting there the whole time thinking, oh man, this is like Smoking Aces, except I think I like this more than I like Smoking Aces actually.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
get I was getting a Reservoir Dogs feel from.
Yes, yeah, definitely Tarantino
Yeah,
influenced, absolutely.
like it kind of it's like it's all in the one location the whole movie. I got that feel a little bit. I could see Smoking Aces though. Definitely has the probably the same number of shots fired. That's for sure.
Dude, that is one thing. Let's just kind of address that right now. If you're offended by people not always getting hit with bullets, you will hate this movie
Yeah,
because
I won't spoil it, but I almost fall into that camp.
we're gonna have to see where we fly. Okay, so really, what this movie is, it's maybe the most simple plot of anything we'll review this year. It's about this arms deal that goes bad. This is set in Boston in the 70s. So basically, this guy who works for one camp, you find out another guy from the opposite camp, from the guys who are actually picking up the guns. He like was it raped his cousin, was it, or
Oh,
like
I think they said bottled, and I assumed bottled meant like he hit her with a beer bottle. That's what I thought. Is it different?
I really don't. Yeah, actually, let's Google that real quick
Yeah. So
because
yeah. So yeah. What you were saying though. So yeah, there's the two guys that are kind of the upper level gangsters in the group, and then there's two kind of like young idiots that were going to be there just for like muscle to move heavy shit around. They're buying guns.
you were totally correct, by the way. Yeah, according to Urban Dictionary, yeah, it literally means for when you get into a fight and hit your opponent in the head, face with bottle. So,
Nice. Score one for
uh,
O'Neill.
yeah, I'm using the sentence, man, dude. Me and the boys were uptown the other night, and this fool got bottled. That is according to Urban Dictionary.
So this chill gangster on Cillian Murphy's side bottled some girl at a bar the night before.
Yeah, real cool for
Yeah,
the
he's a cool
term, but
cool guy.
I'm sorry. I'm just very happy that the term bottle even exists because I was like, wait, what? Like, what is this for? Like, bottled?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which
But
leads to like a very unfortunate coincidence that basically the plot stems from.
yeah, so it really just turns into a big firefight
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
That's uh a bit of a free firefight,
Ooh,
if you will.
there was free firing, all right.
Where,
Yeah, it was the girl turned out to be a guy from the other gangs. The guy that the people that are selling the guns, he's one of the young guys that's the muscle, and it was his cousin was the chick that got bottled. So he was really happy to see that guy again.
yeah, exactly.
Basically, just ends up shooting him, and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, so this movie just really just ramps up to pretty intense levels. Again, just lots of shooting, lots of Reservoir Dogs is a very apt comparison because there are lots of one-liners. I gotta say, this movie. I mean, this won't be in like my top 10 or anything like this, but um, one thing that really carried me through this movie when it did get a little slow at points was the character Ord, who's played by Army Hammer, the Lone Ranger himself. I
Yeah,
have to say, Army Hammer should be doing comedy because he's fucking fantastic in this. I was sitting there thinking, wow, why aren't you in more stuff like this? Kind of more, like stuff like the other, like the Nice Guys, stuff like that. Because
yeah. He had a
That's
big beard in this one.
Yeah, and he was a big old stoner, and he was my favorite
Yeah,
character by far.
he was.
He,
I didn't know what this guy was from when I was sitting there, to be honest with you. So, and he's so Lone Ranger and Man from Uncle. I didn't see that, but he was. I liked him.
I liked him
I
quite a
could get
bit.
behind some Army Hammer.
Yeah, and Man from Uncle, I actually enjoyed, but yeah, I was impressed. I have to admit. So kudos to Army Hammer. I thought he was wonderful. I know I said this earlier, and it sounded like a backhanded compliment. It kind of is, but Sharto Copley as Vernon, he's at his Sharto Copleyist in this movie, but I enjoyed him. It's the first time I've enjoyed him in a while, to be totally honest with you.
Did
So.
you?
I did actually. I did actually enjoy him.
Yeah, he wasn't the worst.
I loved Michael Smiley, who always plays a bad guy. That's like pretty much his MO.
Yeah, he didn't do much since from the start. Like the start, he's playing the fatherly character, trying to like settle out as this idiot played by Sam Riley. He kind of disappeared, doesn't he? A little bit.
A little bit, yeah. But I thought he had a couple scenes that he had for Army Hammer's character that I actually enjoyed. I thought Cillian Murphy was probably the standout besides Army Hammer. I thought he was just, he's Scarecrow. What do you want from me? And he's great in Inception. He's wonderful, and I actually wish we would see him in more shit because he's actually a really good fucking actor, and I feel like he should actually be working more than he probably is because he's a really talented dude. I will say that while I enjoyed her, my future ex-wife Brie Larson, I would have liked to have seen them do a little more with her.
Agreed.
I think if there's a huge complaint for me, that's probably the biggest one, is that they just didn't do more with her. And
Yeah.
then the black dude in this movie, he might as well have been wearing a red shirt because he gets shot pretty early, and then you really don't hear from him. Babu's his name.
Wow, that's a cool name.
Babu, yeah, Babu Sase. Yeah,
Babu Sase, yeah, classic.
That is a. Oh, he was in Rogue One. I actually remember him from Rogue One. Actually, okay. Yeah, good for you. All right, but
cool.
Yeah, so
sweet name.
Yeah, right now, sweet name, bro. But I will throw it back to you because it sounds like you didn't like this as much as I did. So yeah, your thoughts.
I did like it. First of all, okay, so I haven't seen any of this director's stuff. Ben Wheatley, he's apparently pretty renowned in the more indie kind of British variety of film. Until High Rise, I think, was a little bit bigger release. But his old stuff, Kill List and Sightseers, the 2011, 2012, they were both like big like film festival standouts.
Okay.
And then High Rise was like a wide release with Tom Hiddleston actually starring in it, being Loki, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yes, I did see High Rise, and High Rise is fantastic actually. So
yeah. So he shoots a cool film. I like the way it's shot. I think he has some amazing lighting effects going on with this. And I definitely agree with you when I was coming into the movie and I really wanted a movie where like the people that I knew and liked were going to stand out and get the majority of the screen time. But this movie, and I can't really say it's a big flaw, but it gives like equal screen time to every single character. There's all these people and they're all in the same situation. It just keeps going back and forth to everybody's situation during the course of this like big, long, drawn out firefight because everybody kind of gets like picked off right when it starts. Kind of like in a leg or an arm. So everybody's wounded, but then everybody's also just like behind cover and no one knows what to do. So you get a lot of different performances here from all these different people. Charlton Copley is definitely his Copleyist.
Yeah.
Which he's so South African and like big and over the top like accent and character, and he plays it up too. That, I mean, he's not the worst, but he's totally like leading this movie through like the initial phase of it, like as the big kind of orchestrator of what's happening. And I was just like, oh man, there's so much Charlton Copley going on right now.
that that's fair. I mean,
Yeah.
because the thing about him, and maybe it's just because I've seen Chappie and I thought Chappie was absolute dog shit.
Yes. Yeah. Chappie's, yeah, exactly. I've seen that too.
Yeah, maybe I'm comparing it to that and the in the remake of Old Boy, which was not awesome either. But he just he's now I sit here thinking about it. Yeah, he's not done a great movie in a while. Charles Copley's kind of overdue.
Yeah, he did. He just like came out of nowhere with District 9, and everyone's like, "Oh, that guy's like crazy. That's a crazy movie." And then he just kept like sticking around the party too late, and it's like, "Hey man, like everybody left at 1, like, and
Yeah.
he's still showing up in movies. Like we were good with District 9."
You know, I did love him as Murdoch in the A-Team, though. I did actually like
Oh,
that.
okay, nice. Well, there you go. He's doing a
But
good one every once in a while. So yeah,
yeah,
he's not terrible. He's not the worst. I definitely don't think he's just like the worst. I also thought the same thing that you thought about Brie Larson with Cillian Murphy. He's one of my like
yeah, that's fair.
really, really. He's just one of those actors that's every movie I feel like I see him in is just amazing. Ever since 28 Days Later, which is like one of the creepiest, like craziest zombie movies, especially the way it's shot and it's like really dreary. People know it's a classic. And then he's of course Scarecrow. I mean, I love Cillian Murphy. I feel like everything I see him in, he's at least good in it, and he is good in this. But he just he falls to the wayside for like long periods of time in the movie, and then he'll have big parts where he like really shows off, and you're like, oh man, this guy's an awesome actor. So I just felt like I was wanting him more in the movie, but like for the reason I explained earlier, where everybody's getting the same amount of screen time, I could see that from the perspective of the director, and there are so many good actors in this movie. But I mean, selfishly, I don't feel like I got what I was looking for from the movie
Fair enough.
going in with that mindset before.
That's and you know, though, dude, that's totally fair, man. And I think for me, yeah, I totally felt that Brie Larson, her and Cillian Murphy's characters, they kind of have this exchange at the beginning, and the problem is it comes back up at the end, but in the middle part, it's really not addressed, and that just kind of bothered me from a narrative standpoint. I thought they would have kept that thread going, but there's so many like different characters they're juggling. It just doesn't. They didn't make room for it when they should have, and that was just kind of something that just kind of stuck in my craw a little bit. Um, Art. One thing I will say before kind of I wrap up and get to my final thoughts. Army Hammer. He has this one line about I can't even remember the character, but this friend of another character gets shot and dies. I think he's actually the first death, and he's like saying over his friend's body, like crying, like, "Oh my God, you killed him!" Da, da, da. And Armie Hammer's character just goes, "Yeah, well, you know, I hope he actually makes some of himself down there." And I was laughing so fucking hard at that line. I was like, "What an asshole! This guy got killed like a minute earlier, and you're already making fun of his death." I that's when I stood up in the theater. I won't even lie. I stood up and I started clapping so hard for Armie Hammer. I thought that was so goddamn funny. And a lot of his lines are either super dick lines like that, or he just is smoking a joint.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Armie Hammer had a great joke rate for me, and everyone in the movie, it's almost like It's Always Sunny because there's really no one there to cheer for. Everyone is pretty much a piece of shit, just to varying degrees, and so when people die, it is kind of like in that, you know, of course, that iconic scene from Pulp Fiction. You know, it's kind of like you laugh when someone gets shot. It's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, you're kind of a dick. You're kind of a dick, so I can't really feel super bad about it. You know, the dog in me. You know, you get to see Brie Larson just be on screen. That woman is just she's
Getting
amazing.
shot and
But
bleeding all over the place.
yeah, yeah.
So hot.
Well, yeah, right. Well, you had me at bleeding, but
This is going down a bad path.
okay, all right.
Stop the jokes there.
All right, fine. God, being so restrictive, Colin. I swear. but but overall, though, I had fun with this. I mean, it won't be in my top 10 or anything, but for an early matinee, which is when I saw this, I thought this was fun. This would be something I would buy on Black Friday on Blu-ray when it's dropped down. It's like $10. You know what I mean? It'd be like, oh, it's like, oh, that's on sale. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna give this a solid. I'm gonna give this a solid. You know, I'm gonna give it a B minus. Just because the thread with Brie Larson's character and Cillian Murphy's character, it did bother me that they just didn't carry that all the way through. Armie Hammer really bumps us up, but yeah, B minus for me. So, yeah, Colin, your final thoughts and your grades.
Yeah, I think B minus is pretty fair. I there's a lot of pleasant surprises with a lot of actors' performances in this movie. I definitely am an Armie Hammer fan now. I think he's funny. I like his character is great. You know, Sam Riley as Steve-O. I mean, he is playing this just absolutely unforgivable character.
Yeah.
But he's good at it. He did a good job. I mean, you can't really fault anybody that comes to mind with a bad performance. So that obviously leads to a good director, and I like his cinematography and his, you know, the way he edits his movies and his lighting. It's comes off. And I mean, he only had to shoot one set. It's just one big warehouse. I mean, it can't be that hard, but you know, he did a good job with it.
Yeah, you fucking half.
Yeah. No, it looks like he's an incredible director. I'm gonna definitely watch more of his stuff now. But I definitely would have liked to see Cillian Murphy, Brie Larson, like one of them end up being a standout, like someone I could root for.
Yeah.
And I think you made a good point when you said it is kind of like Always Sunny, where it's just this merry band of misfits, where it's just like there's not really any redeemable one in the bunch. So you're left kind of just, you know, at no point was I feeling like, oh, I hope he doesn't die. At that point, I'm just like, I just feel like everyone's going to die. I don't really care. So I didn't find myself rooting for anyone, which I think kind of just made me leaving the theater. I was just like, yeah, it was okay type of thing. Not great. And yeah, I mean, it's short and sweet. It's an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's a lean hour and a half.
I'm thinking about it now, and I remember the feeling when I was walking out of the theater, and I was just like, I know kind of what my grade is. Talking to you, I feel like, you know, it's probably a little better than what my initial feelings were. Like if I was to rewatch it in like 5 years, I'm like, oh, I remember that movie. I'd be like, oh, this is actually better than I remember. I feel like it would it's like a fine wine. It would kind of grow kind of into this cult, more of a classic. And, you know, 10 years back, like 2017, I remember that firefight movie with Brie Larson. Like it might be like fun to watch, but at the moment I walked out of the theater and I was like, it's super average. I'm just gonna give it a C. So that's what I was thinking was C.
Okay, fair. Hey, fair enough. And honestly, I think if these actors weren't in it, and a lot of these actors, I mean, Armie Hammer, Brie Larson, and Cillian Murphy, for me at least, just have that natural charisma, so it does lift let's be fair, is a lot of dialogue with a lot of fucks and shits and assholes and like that's really
unlimited bullets.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a good portion of the dialogue, but because they're charismatic motherfuckers, they're able to just deliver the lines in a way that it works. And I will say, for me, the reason I gave it a B minus instead of a B is because the ending is kind of what I expected I would get going into it. To be totally honest, there's no twist or anything. It's just kind of the way it ends. I went, well, okay, that's kind of dumb, but I almost felt like that's where you're gonna go, so I'm not upset about it. I'm just kind of about it. So yeah, that's why I personally gave it a B minus. I will just say, if you don't think about it too hard, you can probably guess the ending.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, I mean, this was enough to make me want to go back and say, man, you know, for Ben Wheatley, I'll go back and watch some of your other stuff. But
a lot of people like this, by the way. I read a lot of positive reviews. Like, a lot of people like this. Like, I think more so than we did. Definitely more so than I did. But I think a lot of people thought, like, you know, this was like A+ type movie, which, I mean, you know, that's cool. I don't think like I could see it. I could see myself watching this like way later on and being like, you know, not paying attention as much, just on in the background and be like, yeah, I was kind of like an A. Just like tune in for a couple lines from Brie Larson or Cillian Murphy here and there, and watch all the shooting.
Well, I mean, the last couple of films that Brie Larson has done are Kong Skull Island, Room, Digging for Fire, Trainwreck, The Gambler, Don John, Spectacular Now. So yeah,
Wow.
she's got
Yeah.
a pretty yeah, and she's been fantastic in everything she's been in. So
Yeah. She can do no wrong at this point, and she has an Oscar. I mean, that's crazy.
yeah,
She's definitely on the top of her game right now.
yeah, and she's about to be Captain Marvel. Woohoo! Sorry, Marvel.
Yeah.
Marvel plug.
She got all that like dumb indie shit over with. Now it's time to make that money.
That's right. That's right.
Disney money.
She's get ready to be Captain Marvel for a long ass time because apparently
Like, that's cool. I could use a couple more houses on the beach.
Yeah, why the fuck not? He has done her indie shit. She's put in the work.
She was
yeah, that's like
would love a villa in Ibiza.
that's how I felt about Kevin Spacey. It was like, okay, he did all these like indie movies. Now you can go ahead and get that 9 Lives money. Like now.
I hope he got so much money for 9 Lives. That would make it way better.
I'm sure he got paid very well for playing that cat. But guys, what did you think of Free Fire? Let us know in the comments below. You can follow us here on SoundCloud at The Real Pineapple 775. You can like us here. Follow us on Facebook. Woo! At The Real Pineapple 775. Shut up. You can follow me on Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple, and you can follow Mr. Colin O'Neill on Twitter at
Real O'Neill.
Guys, thank you so much. We will have reviews up this weekend. As I mentioned, I will have my long overdue basically breakdown of Fox's upcoming X-Men movies, which we got confirmed. We're getting Deadpool 2 in June of next year. We're getting New Mutants, I believe, in the spring of that year, and then we're getting X-Men Dark Phoenix. In November. I will go ahead and give my thoughts on that and how X-Men can go ahead and be fixed by Fox if they'll listen. Because Fox executives, listen to this. I will fix all your problems. All I ask is that you give me an X-Men copy. That's all I ask for payment.
Can I spoil the podcast you're gonna do real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. You're just gonna tell them to sell to Marvel.
Okay, first off, no, because I know it's not gonna happen.
You're just like, I can fix all your problems. Just sell so that you can combine into an X-Men Avengers duo movie.
All right, guys, thank you so much for listening, and that's how it'll be. That's all it's gonna be. 2-minute podcast.
Yeah, yeah, just like one sentence, and then you're like, yeah.
No, that's what I'll tell them about Fantastic Four, but because at this point they just need to fucking go with it.
No, I'm excited. I'm gonna tune into that one. So should America. And what other country that we are now blocking your entrance into ours?
It's just God, things are great right now. But guys, thank you so much. We'll have reviews up for that. As I mentioned, that Fox breakdown. I will also give my my first review of the first episode of Marvel Telltale Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy episode 1. I just finished that an hour. I actually just finished that about 4 hours ago, so I'll have a review up for that.
Damn.
And we'll have a review up for The Circle as well.
What? Emma Watson, y'all.
I'm so excited for Emma Watson. Woo! But guys,
and some Tom Hanks. Ow!
Oh yeah, he's in it. Yeah, and so John Boyega, which I feel like people are forgetting that John Boyega is in. I think Patton Oswalt's in it too, isn't he?
I hope so. That would be amazing.
Okay, yeah. Now I need to kind of check. I feel like Patton Oswalt is in it. Let's see. John Boyega, yeah, he's in it. Oh my God, now I need to kind of check. Yeah, looks like Patton Oswalt is in this. So
that's hot.
Boom.
Hot.
Yeah, so all the more reason to listen to our review of The Circle.
But guys, get it.
But guys, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Woohoo!